Oh, man. I don't think I will ever get sick of hearing that. Ever, ever. Welcome to Prepper Chicks After Dark. It is March the 4th, 2014, and we're here to play some Conflicted tonight. What is Conflicted? We're going to throw out some scenarios, whether they're prepper-related, survival-related, or just oddball things off the top of our head, and then work our way back out of the situation, try and give you guys some good information to survive what's coming up in our future. So, let's get going here because we've got a lot to talk about. Welcome back to the show. Lika, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good, Lori. I am with SHTFready.com. We are a prepping survivalist forum that shares ideas and we help each other learn and prepare. We keep the politics out and we focus on prepping and all aspects surrounding it. We welcome the beginner all the way to the Jedi Master. You heard of the ant and the grasshopper story? Our website teaches you to be the ant.
Awesome. Welcome back. Always a joy to have you.
Thank you.
The creator of this awesome game out there, JD, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back, Laura. Glad to be here.
Just a heads up if you want to let everybody know what's going on. You have Deck 2 out now. Went live on Friday.
Yes, finally went live on Friday. Very excited. The thing that I'm most excited about is that we have 20 scenarios that were submitted by the community. So we have a lot of people from all over the world that submitted scenarios that we can all discuss. And we also have a sneaky special guest. My business partner, Mark, showed up at my house, and he wants to be part of the show. Mark, say hello.
Hello.
Hey, Mark. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And
so we're glad to be here.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. And our special guest tonight, a lot of you out there listening in right now know him as the Angry American or AA or just Anger. I'm not sure how we're going to go about this tonight. But Angry, welcome to the show tonight. Glad to have you here.
I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on. And you just call me AA. That's what everybody else calls me.
Call you
it doesn't
AA.
always stand. Yeah, it doesn't always stand for Angry American. You can use your imagination. So.
Like the Fonz. AA. I'm dating myself there. I know.
I'll take that one. Yeah, that's it. That's the reason. Yeah.
And I'm sitting here with my thumbs in there, like you can see that. But let's get rolling here because we've got some trivia tonight. Some easy trivia if you pay attention. So we're going to give some stuff away about midpoint, about 11:30. So let's get rolling on some questions here. Anybody have something they want to throw out? Okay. I've got the first question then. Here we go. So the economic collapse has happened. The infrastructure is gone and people are getting hungry. Your neighbors are starving and starting to scavenge, looking for food to eat to feed their families. You are prepared and have what your family needs. How would you keep your store safe while you consume your food and avoid becoming a target to everyone else out there hungry? So, JD, how would you answer that question?
Well, so you have to consume what you got without becoming a target. So I think you'd be disposing of the wrappers and things like that, boxes, and just find a place in the house to just keep all that stuff. I wouldn't put it out there in a trash can or
well, the garbage is
anywhere.
going to pick it up anyways.
True, right? It's just going to pile up somewhere. I wouldn't pile it up outside the house. I'd leave it all in. And as far as cooking goes, that would be very, very challenging to actually cook food especially if you're bugging in and you live in a subdivision with your neighbor 10 feet away. That'd be a little bit more challenging. So I would just stick with food that doesn't smell good, and you can hide the wrappers and stuff inside your own place.
Okay. Alika, anything you want to add to that?
I would personally avoid cooking at all costs, just to avoid any smells. A hungry person, just like a hungry animal, will be able to smell that, beef and beans or whatever you may be cooking are a long distance away and may be able to find out your location, and especially if you're in a close suburb community, the houses are less than 20 feet apart, and like some places I've seen, you cooking, warming up your food, that'll be the first tip off to your neighbors that you got more food than they do.
Okay, Mark, you got anything you want to throw in there?
Well, hopefully you don't live in a subdivision to begin with, so there's a little bit of room around you. More than likely you're going to have some sort of a perimeter security if you're not in a subdivision. So hopefully the smell isn't as big of a deal as it is. I think the whole thing, what it boils down to, is maybe having to barter and share. I mean, I would hope I'd be able to keep communications open with my neighbors to watch out for each other, because I'm not as worried hopefully of running out of food than I am of marauders and people that pose more of a security risk. So hopefully everything will work itself out with food.
And you've already left for your bug out location.
Well, possibly. I'm a fan of bugging out in certain situations, definitely. So, yeah. But the problem with bugging out is how much stuff can you really take versus what you have at home. So, I guess that would have to be a pretty serious situation to bug out. And hopefully you have a mutual assistance group and your numbers are big enough to dissuade anybody from forcibly taking something from you to begin with. So.
Gotcha.
That's my thoughts. Yeah.
All right. And Chris isn't here tonight, but he would probably just eat the neighbors.
Exactly.
Cook them up, make sure they were well done, and munch away. I'm just throwing it because he's in a chat room tonight. Chris is not with us. His wife is getting ready to have a baby, so he's on baby duty tonight. So we wish him the best in his endeavors ahead.
Yes.
But, A, how would you answer the question?
Well, I kind of covered this a little bit in my first book on my thoughts on it. But some of the things I would recommend is I would not leave the trash in my house. That would be a major sanitation health issue pretty quick. What I would say is burn it, even tin cans, put them in a fire, burn that stuff off and then bury that trash or pile it up. And the one thing you can do, you can't hide the odor of cooking food, and it can travel literally for miles. So what I plan on doing, should it ever come to it, is cooking it off hours. It sounds kind of crazy, but you can make your food in the wee hours of the morning, or very late at night and then heat it up during the day to eat it. That's kind of how I plan on it. Because I've prepped for my family. I haven't prepped for everybody around me. I'll do a little bit to help folks out, but, this first and foremost is for my family. So my plan, like I said, off hours and get rid of that trash, because you don't want that to start to smell. Something smells like a garbage dump, people are going to come looking for it.
Yeah,
even if it's in your backyard, Say, well, because think about it, like you guys said, the trash isn't going to run anymore. So what are we going to do with our trash? If you're just throwing it in a pile in the backyard, well, that's going to have a bit of an aroma to it. We all know what a sack of trash smells like after a couple of days. And if that's drifting around out there, that could get somebody's attention. While it may not sound appetizing when you smell it, you know what caused it. And
well, if you're hungry, yeah, you're gonna go after anything. Well, let's back up and go backwards then. What are you mentioned cooking off hours, which is awesome. What about some different cooking techniques you could use to try and muffle the smell or the smoke as best you can?
Well, smoke's going to be hard to hide if you're cooking over a fire, unless you've prepped for alternative fuels. Like I have a 3-burner kerosene butterfly stove, just like in the book. And that's my backup cooking source. So it doesn't emit smoke. It doesn't emit a smell, and I can cook indoors with it.
What do you think about a Dakota fire pit?
I was just going to say that.
That's a great thing to do, but in my opinion, cooking on something like that is a last resort. I don't know if anybody out here's ever dug one. I have. It's a pain in the ass, because very often you'll have a cave in where your tunnel between the two pits will collapse. And a Dakota fire pit is a very small fire. The whole reason for it is a small fire, small signature. It keeps the smoke down. If I got to start cooking in the yard, I've got problems. Not saying it won't ever come to that, but if you're to that point, you've got real issues.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, one thing that I do have, and I don't know if you've used one, I have a thermal cooker from Saratoga Jacks, and yeah, I'm not endorsing them or anything like that, but it's self-contained, so the smell can't get out. You do have to begin the process. You completely close it up, and it cooks for the rest of the day.
Oh, nice. So
it's really nice, but you have to plan ahead with it. You can't just be hiking along and stop and cook real fast. This is a put it on in the morning, you're going to have it for dinner kind of a thing.
Well, another thing to keep in mind too, about cooking, just take your rice and beans, for example. A cup of cooked beans has a little over 200, say black beans, there's a little over 200 calories in it, cooked. That same cup of black beans uncooked has over 600 calories in it. So in a real pinch, you could simply rehydrate that stuff and choke it down. You'll get more out of it. If it's a real issue, if you're worried about being discovered, that's another thing to think about. Cooking anything reduces its caloric value dramatically.
Yeah. Well, I also say too, we preach all the time about, stocking up on rice and beans, but quite honestly, if it's an immediate after the downgrade situation, you should have enough, canned supplies on hand that you don't need to add water to get you through at least a couple months, because water is going to be hard to find to begin with.
It can be.
Yeah. But think about the pig roasts. We used to just throw the stuff in the dirt, put some more dirt over the top of it, and let it cook all day.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
So definitely some options out there. Let's move on to the second question. Jay, have you pulled a question yet?
Yes, I have one in here.
Lay it on us.
It was submitted by an anonymous, somebody who wanted to remain anonymous. And it goes like this. It's from deck 2. Martial law has been declared, and police and military are going house to house looking for food, water, and other supplies to confiscate. Your supplies are well hidden and would not be found through normal questioning and searching procedures. However, the official coming to your house is a relative and knows what you have. He informs you that it is his duty to take your supplies or arrest you and your family. How would you address the situation?
Well, that's a tough one, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That's why it's in the deck.
Well, let's put Mark on the spot and let him go first then, since I think he's the one in the back laughing.
I'd just hand him a shovel and he'd figure it out.
So you would just take him out immediately?
I didn't say that at all. I think he would see things my way as he was digging his own grave. So, I mean...
This is your favorite cousin.
It's my favorite cousin.
Yeah.
Well...
He bought you the best Christmas present last year.
The best Christmas present, huh? Well, that doesn't exactly even out giving up, putting me in this situation. All joking aside, and this is a really, really tough situation. But I would hope to reason with this person, but, the situation is pretty unforgivable. I mean, he might as well be shooting at me if he's gonna sell me out like that. So, I don't know. I think my grandma would be mad, but she'd have to get over it.
Do you think there's going to be a difference between how the military acts versus how the law enforcement acts in a downgrade situation?
It's a tough one. I would think so. I see the police as pretty much, and the military pretty much being on the side of the citizens. I'm not I'm not super paranoid about that. You know, I hopefully think the best of people, and I know that may sound ignorant, but you know, I served in the military. I was in the Army for quite some time, and in the National Guard. So I think most soldiers would think before they blindly follow orders, and I think most cops, I'd say, make good decisions every day. The media blows up stories of cops that make bad decisions, but you know, we can't judge, you know, all of society based on a few people that make bad decisions. So I'm hoping people would make good decisions.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Alika, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I would avoid the situation altogether and not tell other relatives that are living in my house that there's, you know, food and whatnot. But I'm a AA. If he's threatening to take my food, it's go time. He needs to start digging his own grave, or he better outrun the bullets that are going to be coming, because he wasn't that great of a relative to begin with. He's trying to take my food.
True. A, what do you think?
Well, I'm kind of along the lines of the other guys. If it's a family member that's turned their back on you, then, you know, that's the first time, you know. And for me, I'm not going to let there be a second time. So, so to prevent the second time, there's not going to be a first time. You would have to eliminate somebody like that, even if they are family, and it would be a very difficult thing to do. But that's where you turn to your buddy and tell him to do it.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, it's your turn. It's your turn.
That's a cop out. Okay, curveball. What if this relative is actually your brother?
I didn't like him anyway. He beat me up when I was little. Well, you know what? The saying is that, you know, blood is thicker than water, and family comes first. But if you have someone who's not thinking that way and who's drank the Kool-Aid, like in the book Going Home, there's a character there, Mark, and he's a deputy sheriff, and he's a really good guy, and he's trying really hard, but he kind of gets overwhelmed and ends up saying, you know what? It's just easier to go over here where I can tell these people what to do, and they have to do it because that's what they want anyway. They want to be told what to do. And so he just throws his lot in over there, and well, we saw how that ended for him.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality. Once like I told you guys kind of earlier off air, I believe that everybody will resort to their base instincts, animal instincts, very quickly. If a dog has a bone, even if it's his sibling, you know, brother, sister, that comes and tries to take it from him, he's going to bite him. It's got to be the same way. That veneer of civility will have to be shrugged off pretty quick.
When it all comes down to food and being hungry.
Well, you want to watch your kids starve, or, you know, let it go someplace where it will be distributed to others where it won't make that big a difference, big an impact probably, given the numbers of where it's probably going. You know it'll be for your family.
For you, when you're doing your preparedness stuff, unless they're on, do you see if they're in the same mindset, even if it's family members, whether it's your mother, your aunt, your brother, or whoever, before you even begin to have those conversations?
Yeah. There's the people that I talk to about this, I know that they're into it before it's ever brought up because I meet them through it. There's only one person, well, two people that have ever seen any of the supplies that I have. And they both live in Florida, and I currently live in South Carolina, so it's not an issue. But yeah, there's only two people out there that have ever seen what I actually have.
It's probably the safest way to do it. JD, what do you have?
Well, hopefully, if you have a family member like that, you won't even bring him into your inner circle to begin with. But sometimes people turn, you know. Sometimes they start off on your side, and then if they know that maybe whatever agency they're working for is going to take care of them, if they turn everybody in, maybe they'll sell you out.
Well, there is that. How many people have actually thought about how people in their prepping group could be corrupted because of power that's been dangled in front of them?
Absolutely, especially if you're part of a group that's pretty influential in the area, and that's just the way the people are going to play the game.
Okay.
They're going to go.
Here's a question: do you think it's easier corruptible for the lower income now to be corrupted, or higher income people?
I mean, I think we have people who are corrupt on both sides of the spectrum. I mean, from the person who's lying on his welfare application to the president. I'm not talking specifically about our president in America, but politicians in general, that make deals, that make laws for the people to follow, but themselves don't follow, and cut their buddies special deals that cost everybody a lot of money. So I think there's corrupt people on both sides. And I think in a downgrade situation, people are going to take advantage, to be as better off as they can. So there's going to be a lot of backstabbing, is what I'm getting to.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Go ahead.
On the point of which do you think would be a bigger issue there, a poor class or the upper class? One way to think about that is, people in the lower, what we call the lower classes, there's a couple different ways you can look at it. There's simply poor people, or there's poor people that are working the system. If they're simply poor people, they know how to get by without. They've done without for a long time, and what's hungry to us may not necessarily be hungry to them. The other part of that class is those that are just gaming the system and living off of it. They've come up through the welfare mentality, and it's a generational thing. They would certainly be a problem because they would naturally gravitate to that power.
Yeah, but don't you think that most of those people, the ones that are scamming the system, will be in, let's say, if we break it down into maybe 6 different segments, they'll be one of the first couple that pretty much die out?
There'll be a lot of attrition against those people. Yeah, they'll be, because first they're going to thin themselves, and then they're going to start working out from there. But the thing to think about is what we consider upper class or upper middle class today, who's never had to worry about anything. They've always had the money to get what they need, get what they want. And as far as they're concerned, that's the way it works.
You can sue your parents for a college education?
Exactly. Sue mom and dad because, they won't pay for school or whatever. Well, when all that goes away, those are going to be some fairly dangerous people because they're going to be desperate a lot faster than, say, someone in a lower class, what we call a lower class, because they don't know how to go without.
And they're going to think you owe it to them.
Well, that's another theme in my books is how fast everybody turns into a good little socialist when everything they have is gone. As long as they got theirs, it's all good. As soon as they run out of theirs, we need to share yours, So that's a whole other topic right there, though.
Yeah, that it is. I know some people like that.
I know a lot of them like that.
I think the lower class would be more apt to gather themselves quickly into roving gangs of marauders versus a middle class neighborhood who's still wandering around trying to, politely ask their neighbor for a bag of rice or whatnot. And
see, I would disagree with that. I think you have to look at it like A said. There's a division there. Poor is poor, but there's the poor that have always been poor. They're used to living like that. My family was like that. My grandparents had an outhouse until probably 10 years ago. They won't know any different. It's just going to be life as usual for them. But then you've got the welfare entitled people that you saw raiding Walmart in Louisiana the last time the welfare cards went down. Those are the ones that I'm worried about.
And those are the ones that would be a threat because, that lifestyle, I hate to say it, but it breeds that entitlement into them. And they, as a rule, can be violent people. I mean, we're all violent people, but, you go to one of those neighborhoods compared to a middle upper class neighborhood and they're entirely different. They're different for a reason.
Yeah. And I'm
You know.
disclaimer out there. I'm not saying that all people that are on welfare are bad people. I'm just saying because at some time in your life, it might be needed if you're a single parent or, or something along that line. I get that. I'm not picking on those people. I'm talking about the people that, like I said, were in Louisiana, Mississippi, and not necessarily those states. They're all over the place, but they took advantage knowing they were taking advantage. Those are the people we're talking about.
Yeah, if you're, your mom and dad and your grandma and your aunt and your uncle and your great grandma are all collecting and have been their whole lives, that's where the problem happens. Because, those people are rewarded for not being productive. And when the free rides cut off, they're going to have a hard time adapting too.
Yeah.
So.
And a lot of people don't know, and because I hear it a lot is, well, I can't get off the system because, I can't do this or I can't do that. A lot of people don't know, check with if you happen to be on some kind of assistance. You can actually get seeds and starter plants and stuff like that on welfare, with the, I don't remember what the card's called. But you can actually purchase those now through, your food stamp program. So
that's cool.
You can get a garden planted. You can start getting out of the system. So there's avenues out there. It's just people, don't always like to work it the hard way because that's what it is.
This will be the real hard way too.
Yeah, definitely. We are at 28 minutes after. So what I want to do is go through another round of everybody introducing themselves. And then I have 2 trivia questions. So you guys in the chat room, while they're introducing themselves, get your Google fingers ready, because we're going to need some answers. So, JD, why don't you and Mark go, and then Alika, and then A, you can carry up the rear.
I'll bring up the caboose.
There you go.
All right. I'm JD, and I'm with Mark. We're with Survival Logics. We published Conflicted, the survival card game, the game we're playing tonight. And this is what the game is all about. You have a scenario that we most likely are going to face. Some of the scenarios you're not likely to face, but all of them have something in common, that they test your survival philosophy. And they open your mind, they help your friends playing open theirs, and you just exchange ideas. And that's what we're doing today. And you can find these games at conflictedthegame.com/prepperchicks. If you go to that link, you support this radio show and everything that Laura does. So that would be great if you did go to there.
Mark?
Yes. Oh, okay. I'm Mark. I'm a JD business partner, and I'm half owner of Conflicted the Game. And he described the game wonderfully. I think the strongest thing about our game is that, you can share so many aspects of friendship with people, but on a superficial level. But when it comes down to something like life or death situations, it gets really interesting when you play this game with people. You find out your friend's survival philosophies really quick, and you may rethink some of those friendships.
Yeah.
And partnerships. So go ahead, Lori.
Oh, I just want to say, I think you guys have done a great thing here. Going back to the couple of the other questions, you can start asking these questions now with the people in your group to try and weed out those issues beforehand. And I think you guys did a great job. So thank you for this.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate being on the show every week. So it's an amazing game. It's fun on the radio program. We have a good time talking about it. But the show may give you ideas, but until you sit down and actually talk to people and play the game with other people, that's when the magic really happens. That's when you're gonna build your mutual assistance group, and that's where you're gonna find your group of people to help you survive if it's ever a temporary situation or if it's a prolonged one. So it's a powerful tool. It's probably one of the least expensive things you can buy to prep. So we are selling deck 1 and deck 2 as together, and 2/3 of our orders are both decks. It's amazing how the game's selling, and we get great emails every day. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Alika?
I am with SHTFready.com. We are Prepping Survivalist Forum. We share ideas and help each other learn and prepare. We keep the politics out. We focus on the prepping and all aspects surrounding it. You heard of the ant and the grasshopper story? Our website teaches you to be the ant.
Thank you. And our special guest, Angry American.
Yeah, hi guys, this is Angry American, author of the Going Home, Surviving Home, Escaping Home, and the soon-to-be-out Forsaking Home series. You guys can check out my website too, www.angryamerican.net. We have a forum as well. It's fairly new, but it's building up pretty good. And there's also a chat room where I'm in all the time, and all manner of other craziness takes place on a nightly basis.
Awesome. Yeah, everybody got to check that out. Okay, so question number 1 of the trivia for you guys paying attention. And I've got the ladies representing tonight. So we've got Sharon from Trailer Park Homesteader, and we've got Mom from Mom with the Prep in there tonight. So you guys better rock. And Donna's in there, and the other Donna's in there. So get your fingers ready. What 2 components make up baking powder? If you run out of baking powder, what 2 components can you mix together to create baking powder? First one to answer the question in the chat room wins a deck of cards.
I can hear everybody typing.
I know. That's why I said, get your Google figures ready. Google rocks tonight. 2 components of baking powder. Anybody? Come on, ladies. We're in a little delay, so they'll catch up. No, not boxers and briefs. Salty, you crazy man, you. Nobody knows. No, not flour. Baking soda is one of them.
There it is.
There we go. Watcher, you win. Email me at prepperchicks@yahoo.com with your address, and we'll get that deck off to you. Second question. Are you guys ready? Maybe you guys can sweet talk A into giving away a book. An autographed one or something. I hear silence.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. I'll throw. I'm sorry, I was responding to somebody on the thing. Yeah, I'll throw in a signed book for somebody that wins. Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So, second question to get a signed autographed book, because I know some of you guys in the chat room are stalkers of A right now. So, what 2 components make up brown sugar? If you run out of brown sugar, don't panic. What 2 components make up brown sugar?
This guy. Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Come on, Mom, give me the answer if you want the book. Come on. Brown sugar, 2 components, brown sugar. And there's nothing. No.
Pigs in a blanket.
Pigs in a blanket. No. Sugar and molasses. Dawn,
There we go.
Oz, you win. You get an autographed copy of A's book. And I actually live with her and having lunch with her on Thursday, so I know who she is, so we'll get that taken care of then. Awesome. Nice job, guys. Way to represent, ladies. Very proud of you. So, let's move along here. Let's get on to another question. So, let's see. I'm just picked up deck 1 instead of deck 2. Ellie, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do.
Go for it.
This one actually was the question that our forum submitted to JD's game, and it was a pretty well-discussed thread for quite a while, and it goes like this. Grocery stores and mini-marts have been ransacked of all food. Your group is low on food and is in desperate need of resources. What other locations would you start looking for food or possible supplies to barter with?
All right. So the typical grocery stores and 7-Elevens have been completely cleaned out. Where else could you go to find food for your group? So, A, why don't you tackle this one first?
Well, that's one of the things that I actually look into a little bit. And they may be empty as well, but I keep track of where the major chain grocery store distribution facilities are, as well as Walmart and Target. If they're in my area and reachable, that's a pretty good store of supplies right there. You may not be able to get in, but then you may be able to get in, and they may be empty when you get there. But that's one thing to think about. The other thing to turn to is just the, good old bushcraft. It's not as reliable, but it's always there. By the time the grocery stores and the mini marts and all that stuff's empty, abandoned houses are probably going to be empty, and risking knocking on doors could be hazardous to your health. It could, create severe cases of lead poisoning.
Yeah, definitely. JD, you have any place you want to add on to that?
I would probably go to, if the mini marts, supermarkets are clean, I would go to a pharmacy store, because they have a little bit of groceries these days, but they have a lot of protein powder stuff. You can buy 30 servings and, just have a nice protein shake. I think that goes a long way.
So you're going to take some Oxy?
I don't think you're going to have a whole lot of competition in those areas, because people think drugstore, they think medicine,
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's where all the addicts will hit first.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
going to rate the pharmacies.
Yeah.
Hey, that's why you take your gun with you.
There you go.
Then you can walk out of there with some food and some meat for later.
Yeah, but you know what? They're going to end up killing themselves anyways. Why waste your ammunition? Mark, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'm going to hit McDonald's. Literally. I'm going to go in there and clear out the freezers and load up on all their goodies. Maybe Taco Bell too. They maybe have fresher ingredients than McDonald's does. So maybe fast food chains, restaurants, stuff like that.
All
so,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Alika?
I would definitely hit the supermarket distribution centers, ideally, because at least in my old neighborhood, they were way located out in the industrial districts with, the least amount of population. I would go to that first and avoid whoever might be roaming around in the common areas, looking at in the restaurants and fast food joints. And another spot would be school cafeterias. There's a lot of food hiding in those cafeterias that people can overlook, see a school and just keep walking by looking for an actual store to hit.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going through the list. We posted this question up on our Facebook page the other day. And, it's the oddball places that, food service warehouses, places like that, like school cafeterias.
Another place to think about would even be the post office and UPS and FedEx locations, because Amazon ships everything under the sun these days.
By what the hell? By I was gonna say by droids, but they're not called droids.
Oh, UAVs?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you could, who knows what you could find inside a UPS or FedEx location,
Well, some people brought up the fact that, in any kind of office building, they have some kind of cafeteria or some kind of break room that might have vending machines to be able to look for stuff. Churches, they said Baptist churches eat a lot. Hey,
I grew up going to a Baptist church when I was really young, and the one thing I remember is, and I'll never forget it, our preacher's name was Randy, and he was a great guy, but I remember this, it was every Sunday, you'll burn in hell, you'll burn in hell, you'll burn in hell, let's eat. That's what I remember.
Well, and I'll get shot for this one, but, the Catholics are, drink beer, and then pray, so. They each have their own little fetish going on. But I'm going through, and it's pretty much the same thing that you guys have said, and I'm not paying any attention to what anybody's putting in the chat room right now, but they usually have some really good questions in there, or answers, I should say. But, we bring up the fact, JD brought up the fact about going to like a CVS or a Walgreens, And then A said that's where all the junkies are going to be. If it was specifically medicine that you were after, where would you go look for that? Any place different?
Probably Costco. Because Costco,
well, there's places that are going to be pretty cleaned out, would be my guess.
well, that's true. For somebody who's knowledgeable, I'm stealing this from The Walking Dead. Do you think a veterinarian would actually be able to tell?
Yes. A lot of the medications that they give antibiotics for animals are, and this is my disclaimer, you need to dig for the information first before you do this. But a lot of the antibiotics can be consumed by humans. You just need to get the knowledge and know which ones are which before you attempt that.
A lot of them are under the exact same name, though. You just got to watch the dosages because, you don't want to take a pill that's intended for a horse or a cow because, that might have detrimental effects. But.
Yeah, exactly. I had a guy that took a horse pill one time for a steroid, and all day long, all he did was sweat like crazy. So definitely not something you want to do unless you have the knowledge behind it. I know Doom and Bloom, if you guys follow them on Facebook, they have a lot of good information about that kind of stuff. So does Patriot Nurse. The information is out there. Just go in and dig it up before you attempt it on your own. Yes, salty fish drugs are it.
Yeah, that's why I have my pharmacy already stocked. So I've got everything I could possibly need. You just have to have a good doctor. You go to your doctor ahead of time and get them to prescribe, certain antibiotics, steroids, nothing narcotic, of course. You don't want to ask for that. That'll throw a red flag on the play. But, steroids, narcotics. I even got mine to give me xylocaine for doing sutures.
There you go.
You can get a lot of stuff if you just ask.
Yeah. Start growing some medicinal gardens. Think about what you're going to put in this spring. A lot of those are perennial plants. You plant them once, you don't have to worry about them. But for toothaches and minor stuff, there's a lot of stuff that you can put in, to alleviate a lot of stress.
Are you talking about those people in Colorado, Larry?
And soon to be Alaska, from what I understand. No, I'm not endorsing smoking marijuana today.
I think I hear some Bob Marley playing on Lori's line.
Whatever. I'll have the happy preppers with Mikey on. That's all I'm going to say. But, yeah. Alrighty, let's go on to the next question before I get myself in trouble. Let's see here. Anybody have a question, or me just pull one?
Does Alika have one?
Where were you, man? I just read one.
Oh, I had to go check on the kids. And Mark was piloting here. He was the pilot for a while. But I know the scenario about the locating food besides groceries. Grocery stores, mini marts were from you, so. But I didn't know you read that.
Yeah, you go on to Costco and Walmart. We're going to take care of the rest of it there.
I actually have a scenario that I'd like to read.
Go for it.
And this one is from preppergroups.com. And it's on deck 2. It goes like this. Your group has managed to survive a catastrophic event. And in fact, you're thriving. Your group has many individuals with essential talents that have helped the group be successful. However, one day, your only gunsmith, blacksmith, let slip that he was once convicted of child molestation. He has never given the group any hint of this past until now, and has in fact been a core member and valued member in your group. Do you forget his past and hope that his tendencies don't emerge again, or do you expel him from the group and lose his skill set?
Alrighty. So, Alika.
If he hasn't shown anything, I would definitely keep him, but keep a close eye on him. Of course, not allow any kids to be alone in his presence, and just let him know that what the consequences are if we catch one of him deciding to play a game of priest and choir boy.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, he's way too valuable to let go at that moment. But I wouldn't hesitate to gut him like a fish if he went back to his old ways.
Okay. A, what do you think?
Yeah, that'd be tough if it's somebody that you trusted for a long time. You'd want to keep him. You'd want to have him around. You need his skills and all. But how could you ever go to sleep again at night? Or if this is somebody that's part of your security detail while others are out doing things, he's guarding the home. And how could you ever walk away again and not wonder? It would be pretty tough, if he, and I guess you'd have to take into account the situation. If he said it was, he was 18 and she was 16 and that's what they charged him with, that'd be one thing. If he came out and said, no, I had a thing for little boys, I'd probably have to drop a hammer on him. I would never be able to trust somebody like that. I would just say, oh, okay, it's cool. Go back to work. And when he turned it around, it would be lights out. For me, but I have 3 daughters. So, I don't think I could keep somebody like that around. It would be hard. It probably would be hard because you'd be friends by that point. You never knew, but I wouldn't be able to trust somebody around my kids. I darn sure wouldn't want to put other people in that situation with us at risk either.
Well, let me ask you this. So, curveball. How would you not get yourself in that situation to begin with?
Well, that's very, very tough, but there are ways to run checks on people. If you're developing a group that you're planning on trusting your life with, there are services that you can pay that can look into that thing for you. They'll give you their criminal record. You'll know if they're arrested or not. Does it cost a little bit of money? Yes, it does. But you can join one of them for like $25 for a month, and you can run everybody that you're thinking of letting in a group. You can you'll know everything about them. Whether they got judgments against them, whether they went bankrupt. You can find out everything, and it's kind of crappy to say that, but that's the world we live in. Trust is earned. It's not given. So people have to earn the trust. I'm not just going to give you my trust when I first meet you.
Right. Well, here's another thing. According to the question, you're already past the point and you're back in, of major destruction and you're back into thriving. Could you not set up mentorships between people so that way you have an apprentice with a doctor? This guy would have had an apprentice, somebody else that was working with him to transfer the knowledge so you don't rely on just one person for everything?
That's a good way to think about it.
Alika, what do you think? Or Alika, JD, sorry.
I'll probably be very blunt and tell him that if this were to happen again, he would be gone. But thinking about what you guys were saying, if you had to expel somebody like that from your group, you can't just tell him to leave. Imagine how bitter this guy is going to be. He's going to say, I worked for you guys, I was a part of you, and this is my past, now you're booting me.
Well, he's comfortable enough to tell you about his past.
Yeah, you can't just let a guy like that walk away, because he's going to walk away with a lot of information. And he'll be bitter enough, that he may try something. I don't know. How do you dispose of somebody in that situation? I'm not talking about just killing him, but I don't know what other way you can go about it and still stay safe.
Well, if you let him go, what other repercussions would you have? You could bring multiple people back to your location.
Yeah. He could be a risk, out there on his own with a lot of bitterness towards you and your group, trying to get even. It's a lot of knowledge. Yeah,
definitely. Mark, what do you think? How would you handle that?
I think the key is what AA said is figuring out what actually happened, and I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character, and if I feel like I'm being BS'd, it's gonna I'm gonna kind of feel that, and if I feel like they're telling me the truth, and it's a situation that I can watch and monitor, then I guess I would just hope for the best case scenario, but definitely. it's a tough situation. JD brought up a lot of good points too, as far as you can't really let somebody in this situation go. I wouldn't worry so much about losing the skill set. I just think that it would just compromise your whole group. Him being so knowledgeable about your group. So that would be one of my main concerns too.
Okay.
Yeah, let them go is that there's no way in hell you could let somebody leave like that. For the just the same way if you had an internal conflict and there was some kind of a power struggle and somebody in there was mad and whatever, and you had to expel one of them. It's going to be kind of hard to just let someone like that walk away, because that's just opened you up to your inner workings. They know everything about you.
Yeah.
And they're going to just let it go. So.
I think we're all in agreement. If they would even attempt something in the future, it would be balls to the wall.
Mm-hmm.
No questions asked. But, okay, let's go to the next question. Here we go. Should be a quick, easy one. We're down to about 8 minutes. I want to make sure that everybody gets their websites and stuff back up. But this is from Deck 1, and we haven't revisited this for a while. But list 5 crimes punishable by death in a post-apocalyptic world that in the world of today does not carry that same sentence. So you change the rules once the grid goes down, and you can make any 5 crimes that we don't punish by death now. You can make it punishable by death.
I'd probably say the first one for me would be stealing, and not necessarily like your group members taking your favorite pocket knife, but like outsiders coming in and raiding your farm or stealing your livestock. That used to be a hanging offense, and it probably still would be. That's kind of tough.
Well, I think we would all agree that child molestation would probably be tops. I would pick rape because I'm a female. That would be one of the tops on my list.
Well, I was going to say those two for sure. But yeah, there's no gray area with those things anymore at all.
Okay, so we've got theft, rape, molestation. Any thoughts on? Go ahead.
What if you run into somebody that contributed to the collapse somehow?
There are days I wish somebody would. I would probably feed them for the rest of their life or give them some tequila or something.
Yeah, I think whatever crime that invades the other person's liberty should go down that route. Whether you're doing something to their body, violating their rights that way, or you're stealing their property. Yeah, Mark said betrayal.
What if you have your group and they left, they snuck out in the middle of the night and brought people back? You were able to overcome the people they brought back. Would that be punishable by death, that person that tried to overthrow you?
That'd be one you'd have to negotiate as a group. I don't think you could set that. I don't think that's something you could set unless you did that early on. Betrayal is a death sentence, but
that would be harsh.
Because banishment's not an option really now, is it? You could teach them a lesson with hard labor, that kind of thing, and stripping them of whatever rights they possess inside your group, but it would be a tough call. Somebody on the chat there said one I thought that was kind of funny, but when you think about it, slavery. If someone was going around and taking captives, what if you came across a group that was holding slaves and trying to sell them? That would probably be one to set right to the grave pretty quick.
Definitely. Any sort of pimp too.
Well, I don't know. You need to look at that a different way. If the ladies are there of their own accord, think about how it was during the Wild West. There were
saloon girls,
houses of ill repute.
Yeah, they had fun.
Well, I don't know if they had fun, but it was a way to make a living. And if the ladies are there of their own accord and doing it of their own free will, that's one thing. But if they're being held, that's something entirely different.
Right. I was going more for the being held angle.
Yeah.
and consensual career choice.
Hey, you know, it's the world's oldest profession. You know, I mean,
yeah. Very good.
We've got a lot of treason going on in the chat room.
Yeah, what if it was government officials, the slaves? I like that one. It's good.
I think a death sentence offense would be purposely destroying crops or contaminating a water supply. You know, the farmer sleeps with the blacksmith's wife, and the blacksmith gets pissed and decides to burn the crops down or poop in the water supply, destroying the resources of many people and not having a quick way to replenish it. I think it would be head on the chopping block time.
Okay. And I'm assuming that you're going to keep murder because it is punishable by death now in certain states.
Of course.
Yes.
Any act of violence against another, you know, physical attack against another, that's, as a group, that would have to be understood. But the interconflicts, like he said, someone sleeping with somebody else's wife, that could end up in you being killed. But that's going to be a matter of between you and the other guy. That's for you two to sort out, you know, in my opinion. But it needs to be sorted out. If it's, hey, well, let's go ahead and we'll do a duel and this is over, but it has to be, as a group, you got to say this has to be resolved now, because you can't let something like that exist inside your group and fester, because it'll just cause serious problems.
Right. We are down to the 2-minute mark, so I want to make sure that we get everybody reintroduced here so everybody in the chat room can track you down. So, Lika, why don't you start off?
I'm with shtfready.com, Prepping Survivalist Forum. We share ideas and help each other learn and prepare, keep the politics out, and we focus on prepping in all aspects surrounding it. We welcome the beginner all the way to the expert level. You heard of the ant and the grasshopper story? Our website teaches you to be the ant.
Awesome. Thank you. And to our special guest tonight, Angry American, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you guys had me on. It was fun. And you guys can check out my website, you know, www.angryamerican.net. And we have a forum as well. And we talk about the books on there and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah.
So
awesome. The hour goes fast. It
does.
Thank you so much. And you're welcome back anytime. So we have an open door policy. Maybe we'll get you and G. Michael on the same show. That should be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to do that.